Great pleasure to welcome right now. Man will be performing right here at Van Wezel coming up on February 24th. Great show. It's going to be Bob Newhart along with Dina Martin. We're joined right now by comedy legend Bob Newhart by telephone. Bob, thanks for being with us, and welcome back to Sarasota in a few weeks.
Thank you, Doug. Yeah.
You were down a while ago. I saw you one time down here. I think you were down more recently, but I saw you the previous time. I think...
Well, I was at... last year I was at Clearwater.
Clearwater last year, right.
Yeah, which is not too far away.
Just across the Skyway Bridge, and this is the good circuit to make in the wintertime. So I know you live in California, but it's warmer down here than most any place else, right?
Yeah, but you've been getting some strange weather down there.
We have, yeah. We've gotten some. I'm from New York originally. We've gotten some cold weather even for down here, but not as bad as we're getting. Well, your hometown, Chicago, got hit pretty good this week, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. So I just saw pictures of Lakeshore Drive, and the traffic just stopped.
You don't miss living there, do you?
You know what happened? I was drafted in 1952 during the Korean War. I was drafted by the Army, and they transferred me to California, in mid-state California, Camp Roberts. And I'd spent 29 years in Chicago, and I'm going like, how long has this been going? You mean you don't have to freeze to death? I mean, this is December, and look at people are walking around in T-shirts. I made up my mind then that as soon as I got $300 together, I was coming out to California.
Get out of there. My sister went to college there, and we used to visit her once in a while during Christmas time. I can't believe how you folks put up with that weather. It was 3 degrees for a high. I couldn't believe it.
I remember last year, it was the same kind of weather. It was very cold, and I have some friends from Chicago, and they're snowbirds. They come down for the winter, and it was actually warmer in Chicago than when they got to Florida. Last year you had that cold.
Oh, we did. Yeah. But we're back to normal today. We're in the 70s, so I think you'll be okay when you come down. Well, you're going to be working with a friend of ours. She's been on with us several times, Dina Martin. But I know you did so many great shows with Dean. That must have been fun times, right?
Oh, that was yeah. He was so great to work with. He was. As a matter of fact, at the end of the show, I show a scene with Dean because. Dean, he never rehearsed with.
That's what I heard.
He came in on Sunday, and you rehearsed all week with Greg Garrison, who produced the show, and did it wonderfully. Considering that Dean only came in on Sunday, and so Dean was usually Dean would come in and he'd be in his dressing room, and we'd rehearse, on camera. And sometimes he'd look at the cameras, and then other times he'd be talking to people in the dressing room. So he never really saw this sketch. The first time he saw the sketch was when he walked out in front of the cameras, which is unheard of, And it just struck him funny. It was a routine about returning a hairpiece.
All right.
And it just struck him funny, and he couldn't stop. He couldn't stop laughing. Well. To a stand-up comedian, that's like blood in the water.
That's right.
You got somebody who can't stop laughing. So I finally said to him at the end of the sketch, I said, "Are you sure you worked with Jerry?"
That's right. I saw that.
And he said, "Yeah, but we never had anything this funny."
Well, there's another one I've seen on online, and I think they do it on those infomercials for the variety show. I think. You're working in a record store, maybe it's a radio. I don't know. They're selling electronic equipment, and he breaks up there too.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're doing a German accent or something. It's really hilarious, and you get him to break up.
Well, that's what made that show so great. He was just having a great time. And people at home were watching, and they're saying he's just having a great time.
Oh yeah.
Dino,
Do you miss those days, Bob? I mean, I grew up watching, of course, your show and the great variety shows, but there aren't any more, I guess, are there?
No, not really. I don't miss them. I mean, yeah, I miss them because they were great fun, but you can't live in the past.
Right.
To me, it's like like Sunset Boulevard. You know, it's like you know, you retire and you sit in this darkened room every day, and Eric von Stroheim comes in and asks you what episode of the Bob Newhart show you want to watch. You know, that's not my idea of spending.
No, you don't want to be doing that. No.
No.
But I just the different kind of great talent that you saw in those shows. It was amazing when you look back at them.
It was, my wife and I talk about it. We've been married. We just celebrated our 48th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations!
And we were talking about what a great time it was to live. You know, because you had Dean, you had Frank Sinatra. You know, you do Ed Sullivan shows, Johnny Carson. You know, what a great time. I hope the young guys and girls coming up today in comedy, I hope they have as great a time as I did. Boy, it was a lot of laughs. It was just a lot of laughs.
What was it like? My uncle had a chance. He was a singer, worked on the Ed Sullivan Show a few times, and he'd always tell these great stories about between rehearsal and showtime how he'd want to cut the act by 2 minutes. So that must have drive you crazy.
Oh, you never knew what was going to happen. You know, you'd do an afternoon show around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and in front of an audience, and then you'd do the 7 o'clock show, which is the one that aired, and Ed was re-routining the show all the time, you know, and you would be upstairs in your dressing room, and it was you hear a knock at the door, and you say yeah, and say you're between the McGuire sisters and Mickey Rooney. Okay, thank you. You know, and then 5 minutes later, it'd be a knock at the door. But yeah, you're following JoJo and Minsky's monkeys. Okay. So you never Topo Gigio. You know, you never knew where until 5 minutes before the show, and then there was a whole new lineup. So it was just great. It was just great fun.
You just had to hope they washed off the stage if you're ever an animal act, right?
Exactly.
There's always some kind of bear act. I remember there was always be a mishap too. You know.
Oh yeah.